Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. Welcome back, Skyrim Addict podcast 126, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I could be mistaken. I'm Michael. I'll be back. I'm going to be doing a little solo show today after the ESO show last week. Quickly, show announcements. As always, July 16th, Philly Pod Fest, 5 p.m. Tattooed Moms. Come see the Fallout Feed crew, the me crew of a Skyrim Addict. Victor, obviously, from over here, over there. Pat, Andrew, I think Dennis will be there as well. Ray, I believe, is coming up. So there is a little crew of us going to be there. Come check it out if you're in the area. If you're not, we'll try to do it have somebody put it up on Facebook Live or something so it can be seen. Do Facebook Live events sometimes. I know Fallout Feed obviously records on YouTube. I've been doing some of these on Facebook Live within the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Skyrim Addict podcast. So if you want to see those are over there usually. Just, not this one. Generally ones with feedback and stuff where I have to do editing. I don't do that. But just like last week's was on Facebook Live. So. All right. Oh, also, we were kind of bandying about, want to see the interest of an Oblivion roundtable. So if you have played or are interested in playing Oblivion, keep an ear out for that. So we're kind of bouncing that around right now. So it would be something I would assume later in the summer, after July, in that range, since it's mid-June right now. But other than that, I've just been going through my, what is that thing called? Dark Brotherhood character, playing that a little bit. I've been playing some Minecraft too, but that's about all the gaming I've been doing. But this episode, I have a couple pieces of feedback that I wanted to get into. I have part 2 from Todd of Kiana's feedback, and I have some feedback from a special guest of the show a few weeks ago, Steve from Skyrim Book Club. So be checking both of those out here. And actually, up first, I'm going to get into Todd's. I'll be playing some of it, obviously hopping in, talking about it, things like that. So check out Todd's feedback right here.
Good morning, Skyrim Addicts. At least it's morning for me. This is Todd, back again with another update on my character, Kiana, the Red Guard monk with a vow of poverty. And she's been through a lot since the last update I sent in to Michael. She's actually been through a heck of a lot. I decided to play Kiana through the main storyline. She's fully into being a Dragonborn, and will see the Greybeards as in order to be worthy to sort of be a part of. Although as a Red Guard female, she'll never have a gray beard. But it's been really interesting. There's a couple of things that I had to do. I started justifying looting animals so as not to waste the carcasses as a sort of role-playing thing, and discovered that I was making too much money and it was doing too much, so I had to stop doing that, or at least I could go ahead and take it, make the stuff, and maybe dump it in a barrel or something instead of selling it. So I was making a little too much money too fast, even just by making leather bracers. So I'm sticking with just fletching arrows. She's up to dwarven smithing now, after a little bit of grinding on that for leather bracers and stuff. But I also had to drop the difficulty down from Adept to Novice. I don't know that... I'm thinking I might put it back up to Adept here pretty soon. because it has gotten a little simpler because I have done a couple of mod things and stuff. I'm also trying to maybe change the style of my updates a little bit. I've been doing a little bit of writing and really dedicating a little bit of time to it to try to improve what I'm doing here and send it in to Michael, and make it a little bit better and maybe a little more interesting rather than just me rambling on and on and on. A little bit about her real quick. While I was playing, when I first started the character, while I am using, a build off of the Tamriel Vault called the Arrowsworn. I'm not following it exactly, but I did decide after doing Helgen and starting the main quest and stuff that I did decide that I would kind of stick with her as a sort of monk dedicated mostly to RK, but she's also more of a mystical, divinely chosen character. You know, the whole Dragonborn thing is supposed to be a gift of Akatosh. A little later on, she'll get a little bit more attached to the other ones as well. And as she gains their blessings and things that make her journey and her struggles a little more simpler. So I didn't actually start writing until well after she'd actually left Whiterun to head to Morthal. I was going to do the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller. In between there, I had done several things. She was sort of developing and getting more stable in my mind as the role-playing really was coming out. So she did the main quest, got up, and I'm actually going to keep Lydia as a follower rather than playing as a strict sneak archer. I did take the first perk of sneak just to help a little bit. I don't normally play archers. I'm not very good at it, honestly, but this has actually gotten a little bit better. But I don't think I would recommend playing this character on a much higher difficulty than Adept, maybe Expert.
That does seem, yeah, I would assume the difficulty would have to be lowered because of the limitations with the character, the no looting, you're going to level a little slower. I like the idea of making the bracers, that excellent way to level up. But yeah, you make money quicker and level up a little bit. I've always found sneaking and archery easy, so I always find it odd because the game pushes you that way, you know, in general anyway. But it does seem like it fits this character, obviously, since you're not looting at all, that using the wilds, you know, the wild animals or whatever in Skyrim, more of a hunting character. It's gonna help quite a bit. So Lydia is a partner I like. She's always good, especially if you're going to be more sneaky or a little bit of sneak anyway, and using some archery and stuff like that. Also, well, you could always use Feigned All. You could both snipe from far away and attack people. There's that as well. But Lydia is always a good go-to for anything like that. But yeah, that's the one thing I never worry about moving difficulty down if I have to enjoy the game, because really, in the end, it's about being able to enjoy the character and not like beating yourself to death like with a skeleton or something like that. So yeah, no shame in lowering difficulty level.
But it was a little rough even on Adept, at least until I got Lydia. It got a little easier, but even then there was still things that we couldn't quite deal with, even though I'm using things like, you know, heal other and stuff, trying to keep her going pretty good. So she primarily likes to hunt the undead, necromancers, you know, evil mages. That's kind of her thing. Her story really started to come together after she had finally met the Greybeards, and she had done a few things in Whiterun for a few of the characters there, such as Amryn, and Actually haven't done Ysolda's yet. Haven't found a mammoth tusk. That's actually going to be hard considering I don't loot. And then we went to Iverstead, and I did a couple of things around there. When I finally decided to kind of stop side questing around Whiterun and decided I really wanted to finish getting Unrelenting Force and move on in the main quest to get the Jurgen Windcaller, I decided to head to Morthal, by way of Dawnstar, actually, run up, where she met Cicero, helped convince the farmer there, whose name I can't remember, to help Cicero with his wagon. There wasn't much anything interesting until they got to Dawnstar, and where they went to the inn for a meal, rest, and of course there's Arender, who was, talking about the nightmares with the locals, and Kiana decided that the Divines had sent her there to Dawnstar for a reason. There was a reason she had decided to go that way rather than just take a carriage straight to Morthal.
That's a fun quest there in Dawnstar with the nightmares and Nightcaller Temple and going back and essentially going back in time and seeing how it all went down. And you get to help a lot of people at one time. So I'm not sure how many people then that allows you to, get things from, since he's not looting. Obviously the friendships, relationships are much more important. So how many people are you able to get things from without looting just by doing that one quest? I'm not sure of that, actually, because I've never really done, mechanically, I've never played the game that way where I'm not looting. So that is interesting. So if you can do a quest where you befriend more people, or more people will allow you to take items from them, things like that. I mean, that becomes a super helpful quest. I wonder if there's a few people in town who would do that. So that's something I should look into. But that's would definitely be a helpful tool playing this style of game, is finding one quest where a large group of people feel they owe you something.
They set off for Nightcaller Temple, and that was actually where I had to lower the difficulty. Nightcaller Temple isn't overly difficult, I made most of the way through it, and I came to a point where there was one orc warrior with a big two-handed battle axe, and since of course they won't let you take Lydia in, it's just you and Arender. He kept just putting Arender down quickly, and then he would come at me, and I couldn't keep up with his attacks, and he just kept putting me down. So I finally was just like, God, the heck with this, because I wanted to finish it. I was running out of playtime, and so I had to lower the difficulty. I haven't actually raised it back up since, but even then, there's been a few things that have still been rather challenging, so I'm kind of glad that I haven't, or I might have ended up getting kind of frustrated. Once that was done, leave Nightcaller. I keep wanting to call it Nightcrawler Temple, but it's Nightcaller Temple, where I spared Arender, obviously, and let him destroy the Skull of Corruption, because, well, she's the ultimate good guy, an agent of the Divines, right? Sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes here. The funniest thing happened. Come down the mountain, and there are vampires attacking the guard, the carriage drivers, and they're fighting. Try to jump in, help the vampires, and what happens? A dragon lands. And so so now we're fighting a dragon. Just as the dragon dies, here comes a frost troll. And this is just like one thing after the other: vampires, dragon, frost troll. That actually took a couple of tries, even on novice difficulty. I think it's novice. Novice is under adept. But we made it, and uh, one of the guards just happened to mention the next morning after resting up at the inn. One of the guards happens to mention the Hall of the Vigilance. So she decides to head to the Hall of the Vigilance and sees that it's just been completely destroyed and wrecked by vampires. So now her mission is getting even more solidified. Yeah, she just keeps running into these evil Daedra, and she's gone north, vampires, and dragons, and just all this nasty stuff. So she's about to just take out every vampire that she can get her hands on.
I love that all these little events, these normal little events that you come across in the game, are used to, make characters and change how the character feels and grow the character. You know, Instead of it just being an event that happens or something you come across or a place to clear out, it's actually something that matters to the character and changes it in some way and moves it forward, or maybe even completely turns you 180 from where you thought you were going, and you do a different style playthrough, or take your character down a different road or different mindset with it. So all those little things. That's why it's so replayable, I think. But I like hearing that. I do that sometimes. I'm not as great as it, at the role playing as others, but I do like having a character and not just going through and clearing stuff now, just going through and finding what that character does. That's why I tend to stick to, if I'm going to do a new character, I try to do I'm going to do, kind of plan it out, like the thieves and this or that, things that kind of mesh together, instead of just, becoming the head of every faction and the Dragonborn and this and that. Because it just doesn't seem as realistic when you're all those things. Whereas if you focus on a few of them, it becomes, I don't know, more, I guess realistic is the word, or, more reasonable. That people wouldn't know you in the other factions, I guess, instead of knowing you. So I kind of like that aspect of it.
So this is when she finally gets to the dwarven smithing part, so we can make some dwarven arrows. It takes every bit of money that she's got, but she manages to smith up some dwarven arrows there before we leave Dawnstar. She heads to Morthal, and just what happens in Morthal? Well, one of the main stories is about a vampire trying to take over the town. So she investigates and just deals with the vampires there, and she's just like, oh my god, where are all these vampires coming from? It's just ridiculous. The interesting thing about that was, as soon as, and I don't know if this has something to do maybe with the unofficial patch or what, but as soon as she deals with that, the Jarl makes her a thing, just right away. So I guess maybe it counts, excuse me, as helping 3 people. I'm not really sure. Decided to grab the Lord Stone, get a little extra armor rating and some magic resistance before moving on to doing Ustengrav for the horn. So grab the Lord Stone, head to Ustengrav. Once that's dealt with, instead of going straight back to Riverwood to meet with Delphine, and this is me kind of metagaming, but role-playing it out, that she gets visions from the Divines. And so that night, she has a vision of the Temple in Solitude. The Temple of the 8 Divines, I guess, because they removed the Shrine to Talos. So she decides to head to Solitude, and it's there that she will, I'll skip stuff. But, she decides that, heading to Solitude is a pretty good idea. Visiting the temple there, and just kind of, that's where her visions are leading her at this point. Right before that, when I was going to get the Lordstone, I had actually done something I don't recall ever doing before. There was a cave there, and I can't remember the name of it, and I didn't put it in my notes. But there are bandits, and it's like a barrow, and there are bandits there. There's a woman outside, and she's fighting off other bandits. And she tells you that there's a problem inside. They've all gone nuts or something, but you make your way through, and it turns out like the bandits are fighting over this sword, the Pale Blade, and it's released a ghost called the Pale Lady. So that was actually kind of a fitting quest for my character. I don't recall ever having done that one before, and it was very fitting. It was interesting to play through that and have her actually pick up the sword and put it back just to make sure that the ghost didn't come back.
Yeah, the Pale Lady quest, that's in Frostmere Crypt, which is pretty much due north of there, due north of the Lordstone, in that general area by, what's that called? Trying to remember. Hall of the, yeah, it's like, sorry, I just wanted to look at a map real quick. Like west of Hall of the Vigilant in that area before you get down to the Lordstone, which is south of there. But I enjoy that quest. It's a good quest. You can return the blade. I believe she goes away, or you can battle her in that one. Yeah, you go in there. There's, I think somebody runs ahead, if I'm not mistaken, and is battling the. She's a wisp mother, the Pale Lady. Let's see. I'll get a quick walkthrough here. It's been a while since I did it. Frostmere Crypt. Bandits attacking. The bandit attack if Elsa Blackthorn, that's her name, and she has a journal that you can read about. You go through the crypt. You can find 2 journals, one belonging to Kier. Isis reading both journals will update the optional quest. It's also revealed that Isa's friend Rajir seems to have started losing his mind soon after the farce was discovered. So, and then you run in, and actually I think it's Rajir you see who is running up to battle the Pale Lady, but he dies pretty quickly. So you can save him though if you can either like steal the blade from him or kill the Pale Lady really quick. Probably if you're I think you have to have the shouts activated, so you have to be playing as a Dragonborn. Because you have to, maybe it's Whirlwind Sprint, something like that. I don't know. You have to get up there quickly. I think I've done it with archery. When I'm a real high level archer, I think I've done it. So you can do that. And he'll attack you anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you can steal the thing from him, put it back, and then just leave and let him stay in the cave for the rest of his life. But so those are your options with the Pale Lady. Poor Rajir doesn't really have a good ending either way, so there is that.
We head to Solitude, Lydia in tow, and then she actually took a carriage to Solitude. I didn't walk. Got a little lazy there. She wanted to give her legs a rest. And of course, there's the execution stuff. And this is where I took a little bit of role-playing liberty. She visits the temple, touches each shrine, prays at the shrine and stuff. And I had downloaded a mod called Mystic Monk Armor. And while the armors to me were kind of ugly, there are robes that you can make at the forge for 4 leather and 4 leather strips, not for much, that look exactly like the brown robe she was wearing, and that I really like. They're very aesthetically pleasing for some reason with this character. And you can get them, they're pre-enchanted. So I've kind of, not with anything overpowered or anything like that. The hood has like 70 extra magicka. The chest piece has 100% magic or regeneration, and then you can get a couple different kinds of shoes. One with carry weight, which obviously I don't need. Though she is carrying quite a bit, it's mostly in food. And then, oh shoot, what did the gloves have? I can't remember offhand and didn't write it down. But the gloves have gem as well. And you can get those robes in armored versions as well. And it's kind of a low armor rating. It's, I think with the Lordstone and stuff, it came out to just slightly over 100. So, which wasn't too bad. And I kind of played that off as being blessings from the Divines. And so that's given me a little bit of damage reduction while still maintaining my... And I just pretended that they blessed her current outfit rather than playing out that she made it and stuff like that. So I just kind of went ahead and did that. And it's kind of helped the survivability a little bit. I don't have a ton of time to play all the time, and I don't want to spend a lot of time reloading. But I felt that it was justified. And there's a lot, of interesting quests there around Solitude and stuff that she ended up picking up that were just very fitting for the character. Meridia's Shrine, and Wolf School Cave and stuff, which I might pick up there next time, as I've tried to write more of a narrative after this. With an actual story. But again, I want to thank Michael for taking my feedback and playing it. Thank everybody on the Facebook group who's answered any questions I've ever thrown up or anything like that. And I appreciate anybody listening to this. I hope I don't bore you to death or that you find it interesting. But well, I guess I'll just call it there. And like I said, next time I'm going to try to make it a little more interesting. I don't know whether I actually will be able to or not, but thank you again. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you, Todd. Sorry, I am now on the wrong track. That's weird. All right. Sorry, behind the scenes stuff there when I mis-edit a show. Yeah, hopefully we get to hear the continuing tales of Kiana. And Todd goes in a little more narrative style if he wants. That's cool. I'm cool either way. But yeah, no, Solitude, there's a lot of great areas to explore. You obviously have Meridia's Beacon, of course, being the big one. Wolf Skull. There's some bandits on an island just outside, was it southwest of town, if I'm not mistaken? Like past the mill and all that. They're just kind of random. That's not a location, but they're just kind of randomly there. I enjoy running into Babette around the Meridia's Beacon from time to time. There's the areas to the east, like the lighthouse and what are those? Some of those grottos to the east along the coast there. There's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, was it Oostengraaf's right across the way? You can have that one house over there. I forget what that name. Why? I have that house and I can't remember the name of it. Actually, I don't have that character anymore, so I don't have that house now. But no, Solitude area is pretty good. Although, if you're a non-fast traveling character, as I learned, and you're playing with Frostfall, Solitude is a pain in the ass to get to and from on a regular basis. So there is that. Unless you get the water walking boots from over in Solstheim, then you're okay. But otherwise, you're constantly getting wet. It's cold, and you freeze a lot. So getting around that area with Frostfall is a little more difficult, I gotta say. I struggled with that in the beginning with, I think that was my roundtable character I was doing that with. I for sure struggled with that pretty mightily. So I'm going to save Steve's feedback for the next episode. I'm going to do shorter episodes here in the summer, except for when large groups of us to get together. So I'll be planning one of those again soon as well. If you have any feedback, send it on in. Obviously, play it and discuss it. And hopefully, let's see, trying to plan another ESO show for early July. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in Morrowind. If you have any feedback for that, send it in. we're going to be getting that together as well. So, and also we're going to be planning, hopefully for an Oblivion roundtable coming up. Figure the end of the summer-ish right now. We're just throwing quest ideas together, breaking down the main quest into segments that would work, because some of those parts are longer than others. So just to make sure it's pretty balanced, that we don't have like 3 quick quests on one and 3 super long quests on another, where you're playing for hours and hours. Because getting through some of those Oblivion, shutting down some of those gates can take some time. Although if you have the chameleon armor and you're pretty high level invisibility, and it's a pretty high level chameleon armor, you can sneak right through, right to the top, steal that stone, and close that gate. Not even battle anyone. May have done that a lot of times. Or if you're really fast, you can run to the top, take it, and just dive on in and close the gate. So there is that. That's happened a few times. There are multiple ways. You can also fight everyone on the way through, all the clan fears, etc., etc. But after a while, you have so much crap, you don't need to keep fighting them. So sometimes it's just easier to sneak through or just run through, honestly. And there's only a certain amount of maps for those gates. I forget what it is. They're not like an unlimited style of map. I forget how many there is. There's only a select number. So if you know how to get up the towers and all, it's not too bad. It's pretty quick, actually. I think the big gate at the end is the tougher one that I always forget and get lost in. I remember getting lost in there a few times because you have to go underground and then back up and then like across a bridge to another tower and then down, if I'm not mistaken. But that's for another time. So if you have feedback, SkyrimAddict@gmail.com. If you want to attend our live show, July 16th, 5 p.m. in Philadelphia, you can also email me to find out about that. And join the Facebook group. Right now, the Fallout Roundtable is going on, obviously. Check out the Fallout feed. Chatterbox will probably be back next week, maybe the week after. So check that out. And I think that's all I have for now. So next time, be getting into some more feedback. And I'm out of here. Send in anything you like. Later, everyone.